Welcome back to another episode of Kaiju 101. In 1955, after a successful Godzilla sequel, Toho decided to put the big guy to rest for a few years and experiment with other types of science fiction films. The following year, they introduced a brand new monster, though not of the sea like Godzilla, but of the air. This monster would quickly become a staple in Toho's Godzilla series and one of the most popular kaiju of all time. In today's episode of Kaiju 101, we're focusing on the monster of the sky, Rodan. As mentioned in the prologue, Rodan was the first non-Godzilla giant monster movie by Toho, as well as the first to be made in color. Rodan told the story of miners stumbling upon giant radioactive insects deep underground who terrorized the nearby towns. However, the giant insects aren't the only menace, as two giant mutated pteranodons are also discovered, hatching from equally giant eggs. The pair take to the skies and terrorize Tokyo. Rodan would remain dormant until 1964's Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, which saw him team up with Godzilla and Mothra to rid the world of the titular alien Hydra. Rodan would also appear in the film's sequel, Godzilla vs. Monster Zero, once again helping Godzilla take out King Ghidorah. Rodan's final appearance in the original series was 1968's Destroy All Monsters as part of the monster menagerie that, you guessed it, defeats King Ghidorah. Rodan did make a few cameos in Godzilla vs. Gigan and Godzilla vs. Megalon, but he wasn't part of the plot in any way. Rodan was revived for the second Godzilla series, particularly 1993's Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. This incarnation of the character was still a radiated pteranodon, although instead of living in an underground mine, he lives on Adenoa Island in the Bering Strait. A unique trait given to this Rodan was its fierce protection of a Godzillasaur egg on the island, paralleling real-life surrogate animal mothers such as the cuckoo bird. When the egg is taken to Japan and hatches into a baby Godzillasaur, Rodan makes his way there to get it back, facing Godzilla and the Japanese superweapon Mechagodzilla in the process. Rodan would take another hiatus from the Godzilla series for a little over 10 years before coming back for Godzilla's 50th anniversary film, Godzilla Final Wars. In this film, he was no longer a prehistoric monster, but a pawn of an invading alien army and is sent to destroy New York City and eventually faces Godzilla in a handicap match, with other monsters King Caesar and Anguirus providing backup. In the ongoing, at the time of this writing, Godzilla anime film trilogy, Rodan does not make any appearances in the film itself, but is included in the expanded lore of the film's universe via prequel novels. In this universe, there are multiple Rodans, echoing the mating pair in the original 1956 film, and in the opening credits to the first film, Planet of the Monsters, you can see the skeleton of one of them. In the realm of Legendary Pictures' Monsterverse, Rodan will make his American film debut in 2019's Godzilla, King of the Monsters. While we're still a few months away from the film's release, supplementary marketing has revealed that Rodan lies dormant in a volcano in Mexico and was given the nickname The One Born of Fire by local legends. Rodan appeared previously in a cave painting during the after-credits sequence for Kong Skull Island, suggesting a possible prehistoric origin for this incarnation. Rodan is another kaiju that has stayed relatively the same since his original film, with only a few basic cosmetic changes to the character's look. In almost every incarnation, Rodan is portrayed as a bipedal, pterosaur-like monster with two crests above his eyes and rows of thorn-like spikes on his stomach. Original concept artwork for the first version featured a more Archaeopteryx look, with feathers, a more pronounced tail, and smaller, more arm-like wings. The design in his debut film is archaic, prehistoric, and vicious-looking. The eyes are sunken in underneath the head crests, the wings are enormous and look like a vampire's cape, and the beak is pointed and filled with razor-sharp teeth. The second incarnation of Rodan, featured in the original series, softened the look of the character, making the wings shorter and more rounded, as well as making the beak more blunt and having it droop downwards. A more subtle addition to the second version was two small horns above Rodan's beak. For Rodan's second appearance in the second Godzilla series, the monster's size was reduced drastically. Although the second series featured a much larger monster cast, Rodan was still smaller in relation to Godzilla than in the original series. This design geared much more towards a scientifically accurate pteranodon, with more ridges and scales on the head, a longer neck, and visible veins on the wings. Rodan also spent much more time in the air like an actual pteranodon, and did not walk around on its hind legs like the original incarnation. For Rodan's powered-up Fire Rodan form, the suit was given a pinkish-red coloration, with the veins much more pronounced. For Rodan's return in the new millennium, a new design was created that looked like a combination of the original series and the second series designs. The more bipedal form of the 1956 suit was brought back, while the neck size was increased, more ridges were added to the thigh area, and individual fingers were included on the wings. The suit was also colored more closely to the Fire Rodan design, with a reddish-orange pumpkin coloration, although the film's visual filters have it appear as a more muted red. We haven't seen much of Rodan's Monsterverse incarnation so far, but from what we can see, this design has a more armor-plated skin to it with hefty, falcon-like claws, a thicker neck, larger head, and enormous wingspan. Owing to his location of origin, Rodan appears to have some kind of fire-based substance emanating from the bottom of his wings. Officially, all we have to go off at this point in time is stills from the teaser trailer, but a supposed maquette was leaked in the middle of July that shows an up-close look at the face. Rodan is a difficult kaiju to characterize. Aside from a select few moments in the original series, he doesn't really have much in the way of personality. The first Rodans from 1956 were portrayed strictly as animalistic predators, but also were shown to have a loving, caring side to them, especially in the film's finale. In Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, Rodan is given a much more anthropomorphic personality, laughing at Godzilla as he's blasted by Mothra's webbing. Along with Godzilla, his thoughts about humanity are translated by the Shobijin, and Rodan claims to hate humans because they don't like him either. Eventually, Godzilla and Rodan agree to help Mothra fight off the evil monster King Ghidorah. In later films, Rodan usually appears as an ally to Godzilla, usually to face King Ghidorah again. In the second series, Rodan is given a more unique spin while still returning slightly to the animalistic roots of the original incarnation. Rodan is seen as a surrogate brother to the baby Godzillasaur and instinctively fights to protect him. Unfortunately, the third incarnation of Rodan does not have much of a character and is merely just another enemy monster for Godzilla to face. Unique for a monster in the Godzilla series, Rodan is almost always depicted as a monster without any special powers. His only means of attack come from his immense speed and flight prowess. In the second series, Rodan's powered-up form gives him a uranium heat beam, similar in power to Godzilla's atomic breath. As mentioned earlier, the MonsterVerse incarnation of Rodan seems to have some sort of symbiotic connection with his volcanic home, leading to a possibility of this version of the giant pterosaur having fire-based powers. Rodan is one of Toho's Big Five kaiju and is almost universally recognized just as much as Godzilla, Mothra, or King Ghidorah. He's appeared in countless cameos across countless forms of media and is celebrated by immense amounts of merchandise and love from fans. This episode's homework is to watch the original Rodan. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Kaiju 101. I'll see you next time for another lecture.